Welcome back to Vinyl Decal School. Thanks for joining me. So I don't know how many are out there, but it feels like there are millions of fonts online, and sometimes it can get a little bit overwhelming when you're trying to choose one, especially if you're trying to find the perfect match for a specific project. So I thought in this video I would just give you some pointers to make it easier to sift through everything that's out there, especially when it comes to making vinyl decals. So I'm mainly talking about fonts that are on external websites here rather than ones that are on Design Space, Silhouette Studio and already on your computer. But of course you can use those as well if you want. And I will be mentioning some of those font websites throughout the video, but for the full list, please do check out my website. I'll link it in the description below as well. There I've got a huge list of places where you can find some really great fonts as well as SVG designs as well, both free and paid for. So first off, the boring bit, get that out of the way. If you're selling your decals, then you need to have a commercial license for any fonts that you're using to make them with. It can get a little bit confusing if the terms are a bit vague. But usually as long as the font says it comes with a commercial license and you can make end products with it, and you tend to be fine. Ideally the font will come with a license file when you download it as well, but if it doesn't and it's a font that you use quite a lot, then just try and remember where you got it from and check back every so often to make sure the license doesn't change. It's quite a rare thing that would happen, I think, but it's good to just be on the safe side, especially for ones that you're using to sell things with a lot. I do go into licensing a little bit more in this video, where to find free fonts and SVG designs for vinyl decals if you want to check that out and kind of learn a little bit more. A lot of sites like Font Bundles and Font Squirrel, kind of most of their fonts automatically come with that commercial license, so you don't have to search specifically for them. But if you're on sites like Dafont or FontSpace, a lot of their free fonts are personal use only. So if you want to make sure you're only searching through the 100% free ones, you can tick that in the search options and that will narrow things down quite a lot. Right, so now that's out the way, you can start looking for pretty fonts. So whether it's for a specific project or if it's something you're going to be using a lot and you want something like trendy that a lot of people are going to like. So again, you can usually narrow this down on sites by selecting a certain category. So that could be vintage or calligraphy or handwritten. Just tick that and it will come up with all of the relevant options under that style, and you can just have a scroll down and see if anything looks suitable. You can also type it into the search bar as well if you're looking for something a little more specific. For making vinyl decals in particular, you really need like a solid font for it to cut properly. So avoid brush fonts like this one that have lots of gaps in it. Ones that aren't very smoothly written, because they will just look messy as they're cut out. And also try and avoid really thin calligraphy fonts unless you're doing huge decals, because if you do ones like that really small, they either rip or they just don't stick properly because they're too thin. Then once you have one that looks good, you like it, the next thing to do is to check that it has all of the characters and symbols that you might need included. So you just want to make sure there's like an and, punctuation, all the numbers are there, and it's a full selection rather than just kind of the limited letters. If you don't use letters with accents very often though, it's not the end of the world if all of them aren't included, because you can make those with existing letters and punctuation. So don't worry too much about that unless you do use them all of the time. Also, if it's a script font, you might want to see if they have any extra flourishes included, as you can add these to your designs to make them look a little bit fancier. Once they're downloaded, you can either find them in Fontbook on a Mac, Character Map on a PC, or here on Photoshop. And the more the font has, the more creative you can get with your design. And so you really want to be looking for good quality fonts. And this isn't always the case, especially when you can find good weekly freebies and stuff like that. But the quality of the fonts are usually on par with how much you're paying for them. So a lot of the free fonts aren't quite as good quality and don't include as many characters and stuff as the ones you pay for. So you might want to think about what you're using them for. So if it's just going to be like a one-off project, then you don't want to spend loads on that. But if it's going to be something that you're using quite a lot, then it might be worth investing in one that is made by an experienced designer. Or you might want to look at signing up to a membership or a subscription with a site like Font Bundles or Creative Fabrica, and then you will have constant access to lots of different ones. Make sure you're signed up to lots of the newsletters as well, so you don't miss out on any of the good freebies or discount deals. So once you've found the one that you want, you may need to sign up for an account if it's a paid for site, but otherwise hit the download button and you should then find it in your downloads section. Then on a Mac or a MacBook, you just need to double click on the one you want and click install font, and it should get added to your font book for you to use in any of your design programs or on Design Space or Silhouette Studio. For Windows, I can't demonstrate it because I don't have one, but apparently you just need to right click on the font file and then click install, and I think the same should be true on there. For iPads or iPhones, you may need a font installer app to be able to do this, to then use them in Design Space or Procreate or wherever else. I will link to an article that shows you how to do that in the description. And then you're ready to start designing and making. If, like me, you get excited and see loads of different fonts you want, and then you end up with loads in your computer and you kind of forget everything you have, my last tip is to use wordmark.it to see what is already existing on your computer and check for one that might be suitable that you already have, rather than just getting a new one every time. So I hope you found that helpful. Let me know in the comments what your favourite fonts are, if you've got any questions, and don't forget to like, follow and subscribe for more videos like this in future.